got a chance to see Trigger Warning with Jessica Alba. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you for spending time with me as we talk about movies, comic books, and television show, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker, independent filmmaker, that is. I have worked with the studios as well, but most of my career has been in low budget. But yeah, if you'd like to read anything that I've written in the past, you can check out the description below that has links in it. And also, if you'd like to, remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and if you can subscribe, please do if you like the content here. If you like chatting about movies, comic books, whether you agree with me or not on some of my stuff. I know I have some hot takes sometimes. So let's talk about Trigger Warning, which just ended up on Netflix. Obviously no theatrical release on this. From everything that I've seen out there, they're estimating around a $50 million budget for this film. It is an action film with some of the writers from, The Net, Surrogates, The Game, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. So, it wasn't the writing. The director, it was the writing. Let me pull that back. Obviously, they hired a writer to do this, but Mouli Soraya, M-O-U-L-Y, Mouli, I'm not even, trying to be anything about this, but, her name is Mouli. That used to be a slang word. Surya, S-U-R-Y-A, she is the director of this thing, and she's directed barely anything. This is probably the biggest thing that she's ever directed. But it was 3 writers on this thing, and I think the writing. So the writing was poor, first of all, because if you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, it is god awful. God awful, and I'm not really, I don't see anything like writing credits. I don't see these guys doing really anything like History and Violence. One of these guys did. They have credits, but it's not translated to the screen. 3 guys to write a script about a corrupt family in a small town doing, arms sales, under the table arms sales. That's the plot that we went with here. Why? Why did it take 3 guys to write about a small town the guy's a cop, and he's a corrupt cop belonging to a family that the guy's a senator, that the town is named after him, and we have the black sheep who's doing arms sales by going through this tunnel and up into a depot, a military depot, and stealing guns and then selling them to the black market. That's the plot. Jessica Alba is in this commando black, beret, green beret situation here, special ops, whatever she is, in the desert. And a lot of the driving stuff in the desert looked fake. It was just really weird. Some of it looked real and some of it looked fake. Jessica Alba, I like Jessica Alba. It was good to see her come back to the screen in general. She was channeling some of her Dark Angel stuff here, because that's pretty much how she started. She started in action with Dark Angel, so she's no slouch when it comes to action. She looked like she was doing some of her own stunts. Some of the stuff with the guys that she was fighting that were bigger than her, I was like, oh, really? But she was able to pull the knife stuff, like some of the knife fighting. I think she really pulled that really well. She was able to sell that. And I think that most of what she should have been doing is with gun and knife, because some of the hand-to-hand fighting, the guys did look like, there was no way she was taking them. But this was almost like a Roadhouse situation. She comes back home because her father died, and she runs into all this corrupting. They want her out of there, so she ends up fighting back. Again, why did it take 3 writers to write that? I mean, I don't understand. And the $50 million, and then they pulled it into a $50 million movie. And it's not like she bulked up for this, whatever else. She did look thin. She was taking some major hits. And, at least they showed her with damage to some degree. But some of that stuff, she wouldn't even be getting up from. So, it's pretty crazy. What they can get away with, but some of the stuff you discount because it's an action movie, okay. But again, her strength was in the knife fighting, and they should have left that in the knife fight. She was able to do some jiu-jitsu flips, and it was her doing it because they kept it in the wide. So she had some really good stunt guys that she was working with to be able to sell that flip. But again, the writing is so poor that you just didn't care. Because you're like, I've seen this all before. And then Anthony Michael Hall, which I really like, he was playing Trump. I mean, it was so obvious that that this was a stand-in for Trump. And we've seen that villain now 100 times. That's all they can write now. So, it's all the political stuff, and it's all the talking points of, Trump is the villain, and here's why, and it's all these talking points, and it's the same talking points that we have for Anthony Michael Hall's character. In fact, he even goes as far as, this Latina X thing, I don't get it, so we're even talking about, the racial stuff and whatever. But that's the only villain they can write now on some of this stuff. I don't understand it. But again, it was good to see Jessica Alba come back. That was because the last time I saw her, she was with Gabrielle Union doing L.A.'s Finest, and the show was okay, and that's why I think this was okay. You can't really watch it in one sitting and pay attention to it. That's the problem. Your mind wanders, whatever else. It doesn't really retain your attention because it's weak. It's a weak story, and across the board, I think the filmmaking to a certain degree was weak. I don't think the direction was able to pull tension when it should have. At one point we were fighting in a burning building, and I didn't really feel anything. So I think that the director dropped the ball here. I don't know. What Jessica Alba had any say or anything in it. Maybe she should have had more say, or maybe she should have had less, depending. I don't know if she was the kind of person that said, no, I want to do it this way. Again, she was able to sell some of it. I think she should have bulked up a little bit for the role. But, that's me also. I think that the Sarah Connor thing would have been better here if she's carrying around these big guns or she's in the military. She should have had, a little bit more gun side here, but, I didn't see any of that. But again, even if she did, it really wouldn't have changed the plot. And maybe she just said, fuck it. The plot's not here. It's not good enough for me to get to go that kind of work. So yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes score is just horrible. On both sides of the coin, I think it's like 15, 18%. Just horrible. Just horrible. I don't know. If I was Jessica Alba, I would have said, "Hey, can we? I'd love to do another movie. I'd love to come back and do some more action, but I really need a story that's a little bit better, a little more meat on it than what I have here." And that's my 2 cents on that. So I blame 80% on the writing and 9% on the 19% on the directing. And the 1% where I think that Jessica Alba should have bulked up a little bit. So I agree that this was a below average film. It's enjoyable while you're sitting there, just have something in the background. If you're looking for an action movie that's just in the background, but you're going to forget it immediately. There's just nothing there. So I'm going to give it probably a 4 out of 10. You can skip it. It's not going to affect your life one way or another. All right, well, that's it for me. Sorry, Jessica, I am a fan of yours, but I can't recommend this film. Anyway, check out the link below for in the description if you'd like to read anything that I've written. And then on top of that, if you can give me a like or let me know if you guys have seen it. Did you like it if you've seen it? Am I being too hard on it? Or am I like right on the money, or you hated it even worse than I did? Remember to give me a subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel out. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And also check out some of my other videos. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. All right, bye-bye.